Coming up on Hold All Tickets, we preview the last Group 1 of the year in Australia. And Adam, you've managed to find us a bit of value, mate.
Mate, I'm back. Steve Bradbury style.
How good?
How good? I've got some good value for you this weekend too.
That's right. No Donnelly and no Lammy this week. You're stuck with us too. Coming up in Hold All Tickets. Hello, and welcome to Hold All Tickets. It's me hosting this week. Alex is in Hong Kong, and I'm joined by the boss superior of News Perform, of course, the great Adam Brett. Adam?
Oh, mate, I'm doing well. So far, I've spilled coffee on the floor, almost busted a microphone, and, it's destroyed the stadium. It destroyed the studio. So, can't complain.
We're in absolute fantastic areas. It's a beautiful day here in not usually a sunny Melbourne, but we're expected to hit 32 degrees, which is perfect because we've got our Christmas party tonight, and terrible day to be a cool beverage.
Yes, well, terrible day to look at those pasty white legs too, mate.
Correct. I have the Irish tan. However, brought to you by Boombet as per usual. Great fixed odds, more value and more boom moments. Sign up today and get in on the boom. But before we get into the usual sort of self-trumpeters, let's sort of reflect on sort of last week's racing. Mahaba missing the start. Mahaba doesn't miss the start. Does he win?
I think he does. And I can imagine what you would have been like wherever you were watching that, because that would have been a tough watch for you.
Yeah, very tough.
Yeah.
And
so you would have been riding at home. But
I'd one bet the whole weekend.
And that was it?
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I had it each way, but it okay, I got the place. But you wanted him to win.
Look, I think everyone wanted Overpass to win, but your bet at Mahaba was very close.
Yeah, no, it was no good. However, we move on, and that's racing. Now, one thing that's on at the moment is Hong Kong. A lot of Instagram stories going out. There's a lot of talent out there at the moment. How's this? I get FOMO just reading the list. The current talent, there's a few. I'm just going to run through a couple of names. You've got Mitch Beer, JD Hayes, Laurie Daly, Kieran Maher, the tagster from SEN. That is one hell of a night out.
Don't forget our man, Alex Donnelly.
A. Donnelly, yes, as we mentioned before. A. Donnelly is currently in Hong Kong with his old man. They're having the time of their life.
Yeah, I feel like what happens on tour stays on tour is sort of that trip.
Absolutely. I would love to just put a nice GoPro on Mitch Beer.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a night out.
No.
It'd be a night and day.
Yeah, it'd be a week.
Back into the night.
Be a week out.
Yeah.
Followed by a flight back to Kembla.
Yeah.
He loves his Chinese food, and Hong Kong certainly plays for him. And lastly, sort of Overpass getting the win, the Group 1 last week in Perth. Bjorn Baker just thriving in the West.
Once again, we don't mind Bjorn. Let's face it. We need some characters in racing, and Bjorn's a character.
I think he's so good for racing. We have a lot of stagnant characters in racing, and Bjorn certainly isn't that. His passion sort of reigns through in all those socials and things like that. And you get the old grumpy farts that are like, oh, he's just talking himself up all the time. Well, it's like, well, good on him. He's got a bit to actually talk himself up about.
But I don't mind the next crop coming through, right? No, you can't call Bjorn the next crop necessarily. Bjorn's coming through, got a personality. Hayes brothers, as you saw in our videos over the spring, got great personalities. It's about time we got some decent personalities back into racing.
Yeah.
So, brings a bit more to it when you have a post-race interview with Bjorn, and you can see him late into the night with some of his videos
Exactly.
as well. So, no, I loved it.
No, he's absolutely fantastic. But without further ado, we'll get into our self-trumpeters. Pretty light in the self-trumpet front this week, which I don't mind. However, a couple of people just cannot help themselves. Firstly, 3 votes and these votes have been given for 3 separate self-trumpets. Andrew Hawkins. So he put up an Instagram story, when you've mentally prepared yourself to be in the second last row of economy, only to get an upgrade at the gate. Great start to the HKIR week. To be fair, good on you, mate.
I was going to say that. I don't know if that's a self-trumpet. I'd do exactly the same.
No, I did.
If I got the upgrade, I'd be there.
Yeah, mind you, I've got 10 votes, so obviously I'd get around that. The second one was a story of him, breakfast of champions in the first class lounge at Sydney Airport. Champagne for breakfast. So bit of a double bay mum vibe there, bit of a Toorak mum vibe. And then the third one was going to be at Sha Tin on Sunday, not just in a media capacity, but as a breeder. To be fair, it was all at United Syndications, but still very exciting. Good on you. Very exciting. I'm wishing you the best of luck, Hawko.
We must have been light on for Self-Trumpeters this week. If that gets you votes, you're in trouble.
Well, this is all Alex is doing.
Oh, okay. So we'll
he's a hard ass. Yeah, he's a hard ass, Alex. He's very strict. But no, best of luck to Hawko over there. Hope you go well. Miles Fitzner, repeat offender. Missed all the races, but just catching some replays. I see a few cats got beaten today, and then goes on to give a bit of a, post-race analysis sort of thing. Alex didn't like it, being like feedback post-races, nothing pre. So that gets you 1 vote, still in the lead. And lastly, David Taggart. I'm more for it informally at SEN, the Tagster. He had a big win in Hong Kong and just goes, should have put more on. 2 from 2 for the Tagster. So I just gave him 1 vote there. I'd say Alex might be a bit annoyed that he probably deserves a bit more, but at the same time, hope you're having fun over there, Tagster. Eat as much Chinese food and seek as many cool beverages as possible. So
I think that's Alex's jealousy coming through more than anything else for that.
Really?
One. Yeah.
Shots fired. Pew.
Yeah.
But Hawko now is on 9 votes. Miles Fitzner stays on top at 17, and David Taggart joins in his first ever, how do we call it, introduction to the Self-Trumpeters. He might have been in last season, I assume with some of his content he was. But now let's move on. We'll talk about last.
Before we move on.
Yeah.
Because I probably should have got votes last week.
Okay.
But I didn't put it on social media.
That's
the last time I was on this show,
Mm-hmm.
I did go very, very high about one horse in particular
Fair
called
enough.
Hidden Wealth.
Yeah.
Right? I did message a few of the boys around the office on the weekend and said, watch Hidden Wealth, it's still the best horse in Australia. Won by 4 lengths.
Yeah.
Now that's my trumpet for the week, but I tell you what, mate, that horse has got something special. I don't know, it's only racing up in Queensland, but that horse is going to go very well.
Oh, well, Queensland form's still good form,
Good form.
Let's ask Tony Gollan about it. He'd agree with you.
Yeah, so I was pretty wrapped with that
But
one.
if you gave him the tip beforehand, did you not?
I did. None of them got on it.
Okay, well, that's their fault, and that's not a trumpet at all. But
No.
well done, Adam. Good on you, mate. We're just going to quickly scan through last week's results. In the Group 1 feature, Alex and Lammy both had Overpass to win, so congratulations to you guys. I had Mahaba, second, very sick. Xavier at Ascot. I had Best Bet Mahaba, second. I had Next Best, Race 7, number 4, Amber Glide. No bueno. Best Value, Race 6, number 6, 6 Shooter. No bueno. Basically, my job is on the line here. Lammy was doing all the Caulfield form. His best bet was Arapaho, race 8, number 3, and Arapaho absolutely pissed in. Well done, Lammy. Race 9, number 1, Tuvalu, no bueno. Race 10, number 1, Sarasana, no bueno. So it was a tough day all around, but he did get a win with Arapaho, so well done, Lammy. And Alex finished us off at Rose Hill. His best bet was Bullets High in race 5. That was no bueno. Next best, race 7, number 4, was Our Kobe's Son. Came second, so bit of a tough watch for Monsieur Donnelly. And value bet, race 8, number 2, Mighty Ulysses from the Neigh Archibald camp. Came fourth. I still rate the horse, though. I still rate Mighty Ulysses highly. He had Mighty Ulysses had a lovely win throughout the spring, a really long odds. I think it was around maybe 15s or something like that. But without further ado...
Sorry, so you're telling me last week you guys didn't tip well. Is that why I'm back this week? Last time I was on a tip 2 out of 3.
No, Lammy is conveniently getting married.
Right.
And Alex is conveniently in Hong Kong. I have no excuse.
You have no excuse.
I have zero excuse.
Let's have a look at this as well. So Bjorn's gone 2 for 2 in different states on the weekend.
Yes.
You imagine Saturday night?
Oh, yeah, he was with Joshy Parr, and no doubt he was with his nurse, a.k.a. his wife, Andrea, who would have been taking extra care of him late in the night. That woman is an absolute godsend.
Would have been fun just to be hanging around that afternoon.
Oh, 100%. He
In a
is...
sanctum.
The bloke's permanently dehydrated, especially when he's had a win. Now let's get into our tips. Massive meeting on at Ascot. It's the last Group 1 of the year in the Northerly. Brought to us by Racing Wagering Western Australia, RWWA. Adam, you've got something nice.
I do.
Nice price as well.
A little bit of value here. Looking at the sectionals, looking at its runs at Ascot, gone super smink. Run currently paying $7.50. I think that'll shorten a little bit. But yeah, really impressed with this. So I'm happy to jump on pretty heavily, honestly.
Nicely. I'm with the Vix this week. I'm with Attrition. He's given Connections plenty to cheer about this prep. Evidently, in the Group 2 Hill Stakes, he added an extra $1.1 million to his purse. Draws a fairly handy barrier as well and has proven success over the distance. and further. So that'll give punters plenty to be excited about. I expect him to come back on the plane back to Victoria with another Group 1 to his name. So that'd be very exciting for Mitch Freedman, but also for Connections. The Cole McKenna colours are in that, and it'd be given they've had such a tough spring with the loss of Colby. Really nice to give them something to cheer about again.
Geez, mate, you're talking it up a fair bit.
Absolutely.
Better get up.
Well, what's the point of giving a tip and going, don't get on it?
We could go like some of our other people in market and give you $1.70 shot and back at home all day.
Back at home.
That's the easy stuff.
Come third.
We give you a bit of value here.
Absolutely. We love value. We love long odds. And speaking of which, we're also going to do a set for Ascot this week and a set for Ballarat. But let's rip in with Ascot first. Adam, I'm going to get you to go first.
Yeah, so I've gone best bet being King's Honour, currently paying $5.50. Won its last start, and I know it was not at Ascot, but it had some really good times there, so I'm backing it in. It's got a strong Ascot form, so I'm really keen to see jumping back into Ascot, what that looks like. And this jockey-trainer combination seemed to go pretty well together, so really keen to back it in.
And for your next best?
Next best, I've gone Henchard at $9 currently. Once again, it ran some pretty good times of late. I'm happy to sort of see it run around on this one. I think the $9 is a little bit long for the quality of horse that you've got here. So I want to see what it can do here. I'm expecting it to win by probably 2 lengths, to be honest.
Okay. And your best value, race 4, Rupert's Empire.
Best value, and Rupert's Empire just feels appropriate for us.
Yeah.
So
it does actually, yeah. Shout out.
I'm thinking this one has kind of been a bit luckless at times, but has been running pretty well. Had a bit of a spell. I'm wanting to see it come back, but $19 feels well over. So
I think so.
I'm just looking at it going, that if you want some value, that's where I'm looking.
That's a brilliant omen as well. I really like that from you. For me, and actually before I get to mine, I must talk about the track conditions. Rail out 9 metres while the track will be a good 4. According to the Google weather on the day, it's going to be 32 degrees at Ascot. Terrible day, as I've said multiple times, to be a cool beverage, and a terrible day to be wearing a suit as well. You'd hate...
It'd be sticky.
I think you don't have to wear a tie.
No, sure, no tie.
Yeah. I love Gay Waterhouse to bits, but on days like that, that's when I don't mind the shorts and the members.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's sticky afternoon though.
Yeah, be empathetic to the punters. Maybe even a set of pluggers.
What's the beer of choice in WA?
I think it's Swan or Emu Export, the Bush Chalk.
Yeah. If you were manufacturing that, you'd be just loading up a little bit more for the weekend.
Absolutely. Like, what was it? The CEO of beer when hot days were invented, just like that. So, but very typical Perth in the summer. Wear a set of pluggers as well to let those dogs have some air. I'm going to be heading to Ascot. My best bet is attrition in the Northerly. So you want my reasoning? I've already given it. Rewind back. Next best comes in race 7, number 4, in good order at $4.40 on the nose. Came second in his last run at Ascot. Has decent Ascot form. Has plenty of stakes form as well. And he's the current favourite in the race. And my best value, I've gone again, so he's going to take on attrition. Race 8, number 15, Sox Nation from the Kieran Maher camp. Currently $11 odds on the nose via Boombet. I like this horse. Loves winning at a rough price. And if Kieran Maher is sending Sox Nation over there, it must be the data. Must be the AI, something like that. And I trust him. I trust him so much. So get on Sox Nation. Obviously,
it won its last race.
Won its last. Yeah, three group 1s maybe this Saturday. What an absolute stinker! Now in Victoria, the feature meeting on Saturday is at Ballarat, one of the great country carnival races in the Ballarat Cup. Lovely staying race. We wanted to avoid Sydney this weekend because the features I think are benchmark 94. So we're going to look at Ballarat. You're up. Your best bet comes in race 4 and one of Alex's favourite as well.
I know Alex has backed this to his detriment at times. How are we saying it? Ferrari with
the PH. They're being very smart.
Very smart.
Yeah.
Paying $4.50 currently. Yeah, look, I think if for a horse of this quality running down a Ballarat this weekend, hopefully it'll be a good track by the time the weather rolls around on Saturday.
Yeah.
It should run pretty exceptional time here. It's been a bit luckless and it's this campaign, so very happy to back it.
But always still in the mix.
Yeah. Places a lot.
speaking of the track conditions, rail is going to sit in the true position of Ballarat, and the track will play a soft 6 so far. I'd like to see that firm, but apparently it might be wet. Like last year's Ballarat Cup was absolutely pissing down. So it'll be interesting to see what the track looks like come Saturday. We're saying this on a Thursday, so we can't predict the future. I'm sorry, punters. If we could predict the future, your bank balances would be... Yeah.
What are you talking about? Back our horses this weekend.
Back our horses.
Will be straight through the roof.
Yeah, no dramas. If your bank balance isn't looking like that, then don't blame us. Next best comes in race 10, number 2, So Risque.
This is one of my black bookers.
Well, your next best has higher odds than your best value.
I know. I may have got this the wrong way around, but this So Risque, one of my black bookers, the Hayes boys have got this one. I love this horse. Absolutely love it. It's always up there. It always gives a strong run. It's had some good wins. I think it's been on a bit of a spell for a while, but coming back now, runs well first up. So I'm looking for this one to kind of just step straight back into it and pick up where it left off. So very happy to see it at Ballarat this weekend at $21. $21. If you told me I could get $21 for So Risque, I would have laughed in your face. So here you are. This is the one.
I like it. I like it a lot. Best value coming in race 9.
And this one's a bit different. It's only had one start in Australia. It wasn't elite in that first start, but it's got some really good New Zealand racing behind it. Okay. A couple of Group 1s as well.
Yeah.
So I just think they brought it over. They gave it one race, and in that one race, it showed me enough that it's got some quality. I know it's going up against some quality in that Ballarat Cup, but for $15, I think it's going to run a pretty tidy race.
Okay, I like it a lot. My best bet comes in race 5 and number 5, Prince Eric, a horse I've had a bit to do with, and a horse that holds very dear to my heart. But he's an English import, and with an English trainer, Archie Alexander. He races on his home track. His first ever start came 3rd in the Donald Cup. I think there's a lot more improvement to come from this horse. If you watch one of his starts at Sandown over in England, you actually see how tough this horse is, and how he'll be able to stay the trip. That's currently at $7.10, courtesy of Boombet. Next best comes in race 4, number 4. I'm with you.
You're with me.
Ferrari, $3.50. Don't like the odds, but he's always in the mix, and I'm a major fan. And Alex being away, I got a sort of a tribute to Alex getting on one of his sickenings.
I wonder if he'll remember to back it while he's in Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, he will. He would have already done it. He would have got it done on the futures or something like that. Alex, you're a sicko, mate. But keep up the good work in honkers. And best value comes in race 9, number 3, Berkeley Square. I've got Berkeley Square to win the Ballarat Cup. Berkeley Square's form, like his form this spring, has just been stacked with Group 2, Group 3 stakes form. Won a listed race at Sandown. In all those Group 2 and 3 races, he's remained competitive. He's placed in all of them, seconds, thirds. I think it's been how many starts? It's been now 4 starts since that win in Sandown. I think that was on grand final day, and he's now due. Lammy hates this horse, but...
Well, it cost Lammy a lot of money, but you could look at Berkeley Square one of 2 ways. You can make plenty of excuses for not winning, or you could sit there and just bury it and say it's just not a winner. Right?
Yeah.
I'm on the side of the fence if it's got plenty of excuses for not winning.
Yeah.
A couple of wide gates in there as well. I like this one.
Yeah,
I see it beating What's a Wild Night.
Fair enough. Well, you've got to stick to your guns there. He draws barrier 2, which is handy, but at the same time, it's a 2,000-metre race. So the barrier doesn't mean absolutely everything. He's currently priced at $12.20 to win and $3.75 to place. Berkeley Square will wrap up our tips for today as we progress on to yays or nays. I'll ask you the question, but we'll also both have opinion on this. I'd say every punter that lives south of the Murray will have an opinion on this, and a couple of salty folks from my hometown in Sydney will also be happy to bag this bloke out. Does Andrew Jones just need to move on? Andrew Jones being the former RV Racing Victoria CEO, does he simply need to just move on following... I mean, yes. you can tell us about it.
I 100% believe he should move on.
Yeah.
What he brought during his tenure at Racing Victoria were some interesting and different ideas, and I do believe that some of them had some merit. But at the end of the day, he couldn't get the participants behind him.
No.
And couldn't get Racing Victoria moving forward. And I do think it's time to move on. You can't sit there and keep potting the industry that you're employed by when you're now out of it.
Yeah.
Aaron Morrison's come in and doing an exceptional job.
Yeah.
Exceptional job.
Yeah.
And the team he's got around him is looking amazing. And we had a great spring. AJ, You've done your job, move on.
And you know what? I think it was during the Asian Racing Conference, and he was able to actually have civil chats with Peter V'landys that early on in his tenure. Speaks quite highly of his character. So good on Aaron. What do I think? Yay. Andrew, you're like a great Northern. Just mediocre, mate. So move on, champ. You're a professional CEO. Now, next. Will the Victorian government support the industry to grow again?
This one's close to my heart.
Yeah, so this one was yours.
We live in a state that is currently just bashing everything that's to do with, wagering and gambling and everything else. And we know the impacts on there. We know the impacts.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
But the impacts are for a small percentage. What you need, and this is why I'm a massive nay on this because I just can't see it changing. Need a government that's going to step in, actually support the racing industry, help it grow, not pot the outcomes of it, because all we're seeing is, gambling is bad, and racing is bad because it's attached to gambling.
Yeah.
Move on. Like, gambling and racing have been around for years and years and years in Australia, hundreds of years. Let's just move on. It's a great industry. It supports a lot of people. It supports a lot of jobs. The taxes that it pays to this state go to putting a lot of the hospitals and everything else together.
Tourism as well during the Spring Carnival, a lot of interstate tourism. And then once you get at Melbourne Cup Carnival, international tourism.
Yeah. So don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Yep.
Support it, but support it in the right way. And if you want to put some regulation around it to, combat some of the issues that come out of it, then do that. But seriously, stop potting it at every chance.
Yeah, I completely agree. I understand, that like you said, it's usually a small percentage, but something not to necessarily be ignored in regards to wagering. There are some major issues that, certain people have and now actually, quite interestingly enough, a lot of issues with young people because of how accessible it is to gamble now. But at the same time, happy for that to be regulated. What that looks like, I don't know. We're not politicians. And hopefully nor should we ever be. Not just for our own sanity, but for the sanity of the people in Victoria and Australia. But yeah, a little bit more support would be great.
You look at other states. You look at you look at New South Wales racing. You look into Queensland. Those governments are well and truly behind it. They put the regulations around it. They have great lines of communication with the bookmakers.
Good education as well.
That's right. And Victoria just keeps potting it. And it's got to stop. Otherwise, we're going to destroy an industry that does give so much back to the community in terms of financial support. We really just need to think about what that Victorian government's going to do to help support.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a really interesting one. I like that. And but yeah, lots to think about. I'd love to hear what punters have to think about that as well. So please drop a comment, send us a message. But for our next one is Magic Millions Racing's answer to schoolies. I'm going to take this one. I've probably been attending Magic Millions since the age of 5. Absolutely love the sales. Bloodstock and sales is a bit of a thing that I nerd about. I love, looking at pedigrees and being in the ring when it's a bit of a pissing contest between Yulong and Coolmore or Tiakau and stuff like that. They're all going head to head and, major ego game and stuff like that. But then we look at the other part of Magic Millions, which is, the client dinners afterwards, the great tax write-offs. You see all the yearling preppers after a hard day's work, like they're there showing horses to people, inspecting them from like 6 a.m. and they will knock off at around 6 p.m. And what's the smart thing to do then? The smart thing is to get some dinner, get some rest. But no, you'll see Moo-Moos, you'll see, I think it's the Broadbeach Tavern, you'll see the Loose Moose, all full of these youngster yearling preppers plus trainers, bloodstock agents. And it's just a full week of absolute chaos. I love it, and it's a massive yay. It 100% is schoolies and brings in a lot of international buyers as well. Sheikh Fahad, he comes every year alongside guy Dermot Farrington. You've got David Redvers, some of the biggest bloodstock agents in the world. As we know now, our Australian sprinters are absolute world class. We're getting a bit of international traction. It's fantastic.
Yep. I'm a yay as well. I don't think it's just it's a spectacle.
Yeah.
If you have not been there, like it's just from a racing industry standpoint, yes, it's great and it's schoolies for the racing industry. But the actual, you go up there as a non-racing participant who just loves a bit of entertainment and, the surrounds. Gold Coast in January, you go to any of the surf lifesaving clubs that are nearby, there's something going on.
Yeah.
You go out in the streets, it's just got a vibe to it that you just can't replicate. Like we talk about Spring Carnival in Melbourne being the kind of mecca and for 4 days of that carnival period. And it's different. You're at a track.
Yeah.
You go up there, you may not even see the track for Magic Millions and still have the time of your life. It's just incredible.
Yeah, like once again, I hate to be wearing a suit on that Magic Millions race day. I give up. Whenever I go up, I watch it at the Northerly Surf Club with a bunch of mates, and I tend to find it's a much better way to do it. But it's a fantastic week. So even if you're not necessarily buying, but you want to see a spectacle, I'd highly recommend going to the Goldie for the Magic Millions yearling sales at the start of the year. It's something extremely different and something everyone needs to try at least once. It might not be your go, but if it is, then you can thank me later. Lastly, an interesting one, not really a racing one, but is Michael Clark having his own podcast a disgrace?
Big fat yay for me. I can't like this bloke.
Yeah,
I can't. And he was a great cricketer, but he should just drift off into the shadows.
Okay.
He was a rank commentator.
Yeah.
And they're still trying to push that. Now Tab are pushing him everywhere in podcasts and breakfast shows and everything else. His commentary on the Big Breakfast is just crap. You pretty much listen to it and the game will go the other way. He's just got to go. And giving him his own podcast, oh, God, spare me. I think I'll listen to a minute of it and just went, nah, not for me, and turned it off.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't mind Clarkey too much because being a New South Wales expat in Victoria, I listen to plenty of the Sky Racing or the 2KY Big Sports Breakfast. I don't mind him too much on the show, but he loves to blue with Buzz Rothfield. He's quite funny that he'll always blue the journos, go, the media blows it up and this and that. Unfortunately, he doesn't realise he now is the media.
That's right.
You can play it off being an ex-player as much as you want, but you're, like we said before, biting the hand. That does feed you. I'm a bit sort of fence sitter because he actually loves his rugby league and stuff like that. So some of what he has to say, and he gives good insight when the cricket comes around. So don't particularly mind that too much, but every now and then it'll be something about league, and he'll just bring it back to, so we're now Aussie cricket side. So we're talking about the West Tigers, mate. So no shortage of self-insertion, but yeah, the podcast is an interesting one. I haven't given it a listen yet. I'm fairly flat out at the moment, so it's on the back burner, but we'll see how we go. Now, that's all we've got time for. I just want to thank Adam for coming along.
Thanks for having me.
No,
do I get a call back if I get some tips right?
My people will be in touch with your people,
Yep.
and obviously thank Jared behind the screen. He does a great job, especially with Homie being away at the moment. He's taken on a lot more. And also, massive thanks to BoomBet. Great fixed odds, more value, and more boom moments. Sign up today and get in on the boom. Also, go to Punters for all the written previews and check them out on all our social media accounts. Check out AFL today, AFLW today, and NFL Australia.
And it would be rude for us to say, Lammy, good luck with the wedding.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Didn't get the invite. Did you get an invite?
No. I changed address.
No. So, but have a great day, mate.
Yes.
We're looking forward to hearing how it goes.
And I hope you had a fun little bucks at Wollongong, I believe it was on the weekend.
I believe it was still going well into the early hours.
All right. Well, go well, Lammy. All the best, punters, and tune in for next week.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.